Hello everybody, welcome back. Thank you for checking out this video. Today I'm going to be talking about arrested psychological development and self-parenting. I was a little bit triggered this morning. I got in my car, and because I'm so old, I just have my radio default set to talk radio. And as I'm driving away, I caught the tail end of a story about Dax Shepard, who I think is hilarious, and his wife Kristen Bell, who is so hot. And they have two young daughters whom they allow to drink non-alcoholic beer. And this is in solidarity with Dax, who has done a lot of work to overcome drug addiction and alcohol abuse. So, and big props to him for that, because that's obviously a lot of hard work. Anyway, they are so proud of themselves for being the cool parents and for raising their daughters with such progressive and liberal ideas. And I'll put the story in the description box so that you all can read about it for yourselves. However, what they don't understand is that potentially they are setting their girls up for a lifetime of being ostracized by polite society. And here's why. When their friends go home and they walk into the kitchen and they look up and they say, "Mom, Dad, what's O'Doul's?" And their parents are going to have to figure out an answer to this, like, what are you talking about? Who are you learning about O'Doul's from? Well, Dax and Kristen's kids, they drink O'Doul's all the time. The first thing that is going through those parents' heads is that these girls are the last kind of kids that I want my children to be spending time with. Now, their girls are going to be just fine. They have two wealthy movie star parents, and kids are going to be jumping at the opportunity to be friends with them. However, for the rest of us, when parents allow their children to have negative social behaviors and they're ostracized from friends, or when they experience other kinds of abuse, neglect, or trauma, what happens is their psychological development becomes arrested. And what I mean by that is, at whatever age they experience this trauma, the brain becomes anchored to that point. And that means that even though the physical body grows and matures, the brain is only able to look at the world, see situations, and make decisions based on the psychology of whatever age that person is still inside. For example, one of my biggest traumas was when my parents got divorced. I was about 6 years old. And so for a long time, I was only able to view the world through the lens of being 6 years old. So a 6-year-old still has a very self-centered understanding of reality. Everything that happens is caused directly by that little person. So for me, that manifested in a lot of negative self-talk, like, what is wrong with me? Why? How did I cause these bad things to happen? A 6-year-old is still fairly emotionally unstable. They may not have tantrums like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. However, it's still very manic. Positive 1 minute and the next second the world is crashing down. So that was my life. I was very manic. Up, down, up, down. A 6-year-old is also still very dependent on the adults in their life. And so they have a mystical or almost a godlike perception of their caretaker, meaning that they don't see this person as being able to do wrong or telling a lie or any of those things. They're very trusting, and so I was as well, overly trusting of people who did not deserve that trust. Now, not everyone experiences their arrested development at age 6. Some are younger, some are older, and as such, their behavior is going to be associated with that age. However, in order to live a meaningful life, in order to live your best life, there comes a time when a person has to learn how to grow up. Now, I had not the greatest parents. So as I started this journey of self-development and personal growth, I had really to figure out from scratch what it is that makes a good parent, and how can I parent myself? How can I do this self-parenting? Well, the first thing that's really important for any child is that their immediate physical needs are taken care of. So that's food, shelter. I would say that a actual physical need of a child is physical, moving, maintaining their fitness. And so I had to figure out how to eat better and maintain an exercise regimen and go to sleep and wake up at a reasonable time. And that list can be broken down into most of what people would consider, to use a millennial buzzword, self-care. I learned a lot about this from Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life, specifically the chapter that is titled something like, treat yourself as if you were a person you were in charge of taking care of. So that was literally what I did. I sat down and I had to think about what are the kinds of things that I would want to make sure that a person I was in charge of was doing. And then I had to set out and find a way to do those things. That leads me into my second kind of basic thing, and this ties into the first and all the rest, because the second big deal is discipline. And when I say discipline, I don't mean punishment. I don't mean getting out the belt, unless you're into that kind of thing. What I mean is gaining the ability to do things despite the fact that they are not easy, not fun, and they still need to be done anyway. So that goes back to the 3-2-1 rule. I did a video on that, and I'll put the link to that also in the description. So if you care to watch that, you can. I also learned a lot about discipline from listening to Jocko Willink's podcast and reading his book, Extreme Ownership. And basically, he gives a lot of great reasons why discipline is so important. In fact, his catchphrase is discipline equals freedom. And it really does. It takes discipline to do those really basic self-care things to maintain myself. And then discipline spills over into the third thing, the last thing really, which is finding out ways, helping myself to learn ways where I can fit into society. And one of those ways is by creating value. And people have an inherent ability to determine value. And what I mean by that is it's easy to know when you're getting a good deal on a T-bone steak or a flat screen TV. People also understand the inherent value of interacting with another human being. So how did I go about developing this value? Well, I got a lot of information out of a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I'm pretty sure that's the author. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Essentially, I had to learn how to really be curious about other people. And I had to learn how to turn off that inner voice. I had to learn how to listen. I had to make myself valuable by developing skills, marketable skills, which is one of the reasons that I'm doing these videos, because I want to learn how to edit videos. I want to learn what makes a good camera angle and lighting, which I'm piss poor at right now. So, but I am learning, and I am getting better. And so those are some of the things that I think about when I self-parent. And at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is to give myself what I needed at those other stages of development. And by doing that, the brain will catch up. It's very, very plastic. And people can learn skills all the way through the life cycle. And by self-parenting, I am finding more success, more happiness. Overall, I would just say that I'm having an easier time getting through life. And that being said, that's enough for this video before I continue to ramble on forever about that. Like, comment, share, subscribe. See you soon.